Who are we missing?
Well, she can take a pic.
Oh, I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Well, I just wanna, okay. So, welcome everybody. Glad everybody survived that hailstorm last night. Let's go ahead and get started. Everybody get a chance to look at the agenda and does it look complete?
The only thing that I wanted to do under new business, the historic request, photo request, is actually should be an old business because it was discussed at the last meeting.
That's true.
It was brought up by Sue Ellen at the last
So you
meeting.
want this to, we'll talk about this, okay, move it up to old.
That she brought it up, and that's why, I mean, it was discussed that at the last meeting.
Okay, I just.
That's
There's
the
the
photo.
That's what we
Okay, we'll move it up to old business.
You're right, that's what it was.
Okay, anything else? Alright, but did everybody have time to read the minutes? They looked good to me, but did anybody have any additions or corrections?
Well, I have some quick corrections. I think we should strike number 3, 7, and 8 because they don't apply to that meeting. They will apply to this meeting. And that is with respect to the format, because we were not using this new agenda in our last meeting.
Okay, back up.
Strike
Why don't you just strike that?
number 3.
Under public,
Number
invited to
7,
be heard.
because we didn't,
We
we're
hadn't
not
set that
following
new
that
agenda.
format.
It was on that agenda though.
It was on the agenda that was proposed agenda, it was not part of the
Wasn't
Callahan
approved
House agenda. So remember what we had was the agenda that we previously been going off of that format, and that this new format agenda was introduced in me. And
Okay.
so, because we were going off of that old agenda, we should be consistent with it. And then I'd strike out number 7 and 8, because again, those two were not part of.
Number 7 and 8.
Yeah, but we will be doing that from now on.
So this format will be great for minutes going forward, but it's not consistent with our meeting last time.
Okay, that's good. Is there any other changes or additions?
I don't know, why is our mission statement not on the bottom of the minutes?
I thought they were going to be put on there by
By Sue Ellen?
city staff.
Okay.
It's right here on the agenda.
No, but I said it's in the
That's
minutes
right.
as well. It's always supposed to be in the minutes as well.
It's on
And
the
I know
agenda.
that the signature block is supposed to be electronic, but do you see that, or how do we see that? Because obviously we don't see a signature block. on
I
these
understood
minutes.
that was gonna be something that
Talked
would be
about that.
done, generated for the city then.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And then,
I agree with you.
Yeah. And then
That's
the
what was
last,
stated.
yeah, the last bit is that, the note about the video and audio recording of this meeting can be found on the City of Longmont YouTube channel. That language is supposed to be on, in conclusion of our minutes, each minute.
Right, along with the mission statement.
So the signature block, mission statement,
Yeah,
and
but
all of these.
I hear what you're saying. You thought city staff was gonna add that on.
Oh, right.
Okay.
So, is that what's going to happen?
Well, we need
We'll
to
talk
talk
about
about
this as
that.
well.
When she comes back in the
Yeah, we'll
meeting,
mention
we'll
that.
address that.
So what was the third one?
The-
Mission
the-
statement, signature block, and
A
statement
note
about.
regarding the video and audio recording of this meeting can be found on the City of Longmont YouTube channel.
And here comes the one. Perfect. Good time of year talking about you.
Top of your
ears.
Yeah. Good morning.
I know a lot of stuff was thrown at you at the last meeting, so.
So a few quick things, I know that, yeah, okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, we had talked, I think at the last meeting, that the mission statement, the signature block,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
the
on the
video
signature
audio
page.
recording
Oh,
that
yeah.
generated by
That's on
the
the
city.
signature page,
Right.
which is not here.
I can't find it.
Yeah, but it's there.
So many things happen really well. And yeah, okay. Yeah, so the mission statement, all those things are on the signature page, so that that's consistently there and not having to remember to put it on this.
Right.
So it won't be at the bottom of each page, it will be all on
On
the
the
signature
signature
page.
page.
Just a separate page.
Which would make sense if that was included within the packet, so that you guys could see it in its entirety.
But it will. And it will
Yes.
include the language regarding the video and audio recordings of this meeting being found at.
Yes.
And did you find the right link or? So not yet, but you will. Okay, thank you.
Alright.
That's
Thank you.
okay. I know it's a lot, but
Yeah, if you just go to YouTube, it's right there.
And I just wanna grab
it's
the right,
minutes.
the U.2
Right.
forward slash
Yeah.
XYZ 253.
The URL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody that wants to see that, they got that.
Do you have a quick, I guess, point of maybe clarification regarding in paragraph 5, the second check mark down
For old business.
in old business, yes. The last part of it saying with first one in May, then July and October. I believe that is actually specific to the blackout dates due to the grant construction. And that is what's listed in the second bullet point of paragraph number 4. So, because it looks a little misleading or
We're here
confusing,
looking at the blackout dates
having,
here, and then we're down to
information about the windows.
Those are the
but
blackout
then-
dates.
Yes, they are the blacked out dates. So shouldn't they be up with the blackout dates in paragraph 4? Blackout dates due to grant construction are available now. First one in May, then July and October.
That's
That's when we discussed them, we discussed them down around
the
the glass.
status, I would see the status of the glass company, status of the grant project, that's the glass company status. That's how I would read that.
So the glass is gonna be done in 3 phases or blackout dates are done?
It doesn't, I don't see anything about blackout dates, I see that the glass company is doing their work in May, then July, then October.
But it was discussed earlier that we did the blackout dates, and those were
Right.
the dates that were listed.
And that's what
Right, but
blackout.
that's not what this is talking about, it's talking about when the window company will do work, not blackout dates.
Actually, it is the blackout dates because.
If they coincide, that's fine.
They are coincident, they are the same.
And that's fine, but it's just talking about specifically that company and when they're doing work, because some other companies are only doing work in May.
Okay. So that's only specific to that class.
That's why it says, yeah,
That's why the
I'm
name.
reading of Raxis Company in Fort Collins will start the restoration place on the
Okay.
window class.
Okay.
That's how I read that.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other, questions on the minutes?
Yeah, I do think we need to insert the word in paragraph 9, second bullet point.
We're still on number 5?
No,
Paragraph 9. Second
future
bullet point,
agenda.
past and present board member wall project, so that we're consistent with the agenda as it read. So if we can insert the word wall between member and project, that's consistent with what the agenda read, so that we're not confusing anything.
Yeah.
And I do wanna also clarify that this is not a picture project, so, putting pictures, that the past and present board member wall project is not pictures.
It wasn't approved, that was.
It's a list. So I don't want there to be any confusion, if anyone's reading about that. It is not a future project, so it's on the page 3, so the very top of page 3.
Right.
Yeah. If you can assume the, I mean,
7 and 8 start.
So
it's
it's,
not
where it
picture
says
Just for these
discussion regarding putting the pictures on.
yeah, it's not
It's
pictures,
a list.
it's a list.
Sure
It's a list.
That
Yeah.
particular project.
Oh, we discussed, it was, I brought up personally about putting those pictures online. And not hang on. So that's what we're moving toward.
We don't have a bunch of pictures of board people.
No, the pictures are
The
the
pictures are
house
all the
names.
house.
Oh, they're just
Yeah.
names.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
They're just
names.
So the
Because
board
you
members
thought
are
it would
just
be way
names.
too
Oh,
much.
that would be harder for you to figure out.
Yeah.
because-
So I just wanted to,
So what's changing with that particular line?
Just taking pictures out and putting names in instead.
yeah,
That,
Just crossing out
that
list of names
line
instead of pictures.
What number is that one on?
It's number 9.
Nine,
It's
okay.
on the very page,
on
very
the very
top of
top.
third page.
And it says putting the pictures online.
Okay, it's
It's
the
not
names,
pictures, it's a list.
the names on it, okay. Okay,
And so,
is that it? Are we
that's
good?
it. How do you all, I'm gonna ask the question because it's something that caught me. How do you all feel about the acronym of CHAB and it being referenced in our minutes and things rather than Callahan House Advisory Board?
I just saw it used
Before.
somewhere online or in emails to us, and at that point, I just thought
Yeah.
it'd be easier to stick that in,
It's
so
way easier.
it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I mean, a lot of
As long as you know what it is, I don't, doesn't bother me.
As long as we're starting the minutes with the Callahan House Board minutes and it's listed as that, I don't have a
It's
problem
pretty
with
clear
that.
what it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, how are we doing? Yeah, is that it on the minutes?
JP is correct.
Okay, anybody else? Can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I approve that I make a motion to approve the minutes
That's corrected.
as corrected. and amended.
Second,
Okay, moving on to number 3, this is something that
You didn't all vote.
oh, I thought we voted, okay. In favor?
I,
Aye. Sorry. Everybody did. Now, moving on, the public invited to be heard, what do we exactly do right here in this portion of it?
Just ask if there's any public here and there's seeing none.
I see nobody, so moving on. Number 4, discuss items from packet updates, response letter to donation offer. That's a very interesting one, I wasn't here last week, but there was the offer to put a bench in, and it was decided it wasn't a good idea for, for good reasons, very good reasons. So the people, I read the letter that was written, I think it's fine. If anybody has any comments on it? It's kind of difficult to write a rejection letter.
it is.
Yeah,
I thought it was very
it's hard to
well
do
done.
it.
Was
You
too.
guys did a great job.
I thought it was done very well.
I thought it was done well, and it just brings to attention that we really need to have a policy in place to handle this in the future. So we have a set policy that we're enforcing continuously from now on.
And it makes it easier to refer back to it when the situation comes up. So this is our policy.
So it doesn't seem subjective.
Right, exactly.
Right. Do you want to add that as a future item to discuss?
it is.
Yeah, it's all
Oh, it's on
It's on
there.
there.
Yeah.
So we're okay to send that message, email this to the person?
I believe so.
Will it be emailed or will it be mailed?
It will be emailed.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So, great job. Thanks, ladies.
Listen, that's a hard job to do.
It is.
I
That's
thought you handled it very tastefully.
very,
Much easier to write acceptance letters.
yes, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to old business then. Dan, is that you talking about the status of the grant? Or,
I think Sue knows just as
Okay.
much as I do.
Okay.
We're waiting right now for work to start, kind of immediately. Any time here, we're expecting work to start. I know
They're coming
we haven't
on
had a meeting for a couple
15th.
weeks, we're just waiting for them to get done.
Yeah, on the 15th, they're gonna power wash a section of the concrete clean.
Yeah.
So that they can match the color to the concrete and not the grime embedded on it.
Right, exactly.
And where are they gonna look at the curb from this, to find the best point, where they can look at the curb from the outside before, hopefully they start work? Cause I'm seeing signs up already where it says road work, or workers here, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, are they gonna be replacing the outside curb?
that's, I need to pay for, we're doing that for our house too.
Yeah, I mean, that's coming up here, another spot, and we can talk about that now for sure. So they'll do their work when they do their work. Their promise to us is that they will do the form and the curbing will look the same, with the same detail. We're not gonna get a specialty mix of concrete for such a thing,
I understand that.
but, that's what they promised us.
It's just, at the last meeting, Ben, and you weren't here, to be fair, we discussed that possibly matching the historic curbing or whatnot, that concrete itself might be the better, if they look at that in addition to another section when it comes to matching. is one of the things that was discussed at the last meeting.
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Can you help me articulate that better? Because I think it.
Are you saying that the chemical composition of the concrete?
The
Or-
appearance.
The parents, they were going to be looking, okay. At the last meeting, it wasn't just the road work, they're going to be replacing outside curbs on Third Avenue as well on Terry Street. Now, those are the,
I don't think they're gonna be doing Terry
I
Street.
don't think.
but it was
It's just
definitely Third Avenue.
Yeah, yeah.
And entering into the driveway right there are some more solid pieces that haven't been compromised as well. So one of the things is what, before that's taken out, could we possibly look at having that to help match the other historic concrete? That was one of the things that was discussed at the last meeting.
So having, nothing to do with the curbing project on Third, having to do with our own concrete.
Right, and if they're going to remove it anyway, maybe we could take one of those sections and have it to be
Used for material.
used for material.
The
Okay.
concrete for the
Does that
driveway,
make sense?
Yes.
because it's in the best shape.
Yeah, it's in better
Third
shape
Avenue.
than in other sections. And if it's going to be removed anyway, then we should
That's
save
what
that
we can-
section
Use it as like a model?
It would make an excellent
pattern.
sample.
to make it a sample
Model.
to match.
Sample.
Just to
for-
match the shape.
No.
Not just the shape, the composition, makeup.
That might be harder, because that's 100 and some years old, and
Well,
we make it
The
different.
company, the contractors have a plan to match, to do their best to match the aggregate. They have a plan to do that.
That was
In
in the
place.
Okay.
But
And
using
so-
that concrete would be their best source.
because they can grind
Right,
it and
that's the
do
idea, I
everything.
get it.
Yeah.
I'll talk to them about
Okay,
working
thank
out that.
It was good concrete.
It
was.
lasted that a long
Exactly.
time.
They knew what they were doing.
They did.
And they're going to try to match that chemical composition for our project. That's was in the grant
And I
process.
will add that when they did, Terry was redone, they took out the detail, whatever that was redone, whatever number of years ago, so.
Yeah.
So we lost out on that detail. To me, when they come again, in however many years, we would say, can you please redo that detail like we did on Third?
Mhm.
To match better the overall aesthetic of the driveway.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure they will at that point too.
So I have a
So,
question.
Bill might be-
If they're removing a section of it, they're replacing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the curbing is all being replaced, that's
Yeah,
separate,
that's
but
And the
the driveway right there is one of the sections I know they're planning on working on.
Okay.
And then tying it in and sort of saying there are pieces there to be able to utilize. So, yeah, that's basically,
I'm sorry, I thought
That
that
driveway
driveway
will
went
be
off.
completely replaced?
no,
Okay, so we still have to match the driveway composition.
as best as possible.
Right.
And
It should be the same.
color wise, it's doing their best. I mean, you're never
All you
gonna
can do
get
is
there.
They can control the
They're
hardness.
trying to get they're trying to get the composition to be very similar,
Yeah.
makeup, which is, I think that's what we really want. The city's not going to do that with theirs, but they will match the form and the detailing.
And that's what's counts.
Are
That's
any
what-
of the pieces that are being removed those that have the detail,
Certainly.
essentially, do we have any interest in, maybe it's too much, but have any interest in preserving any of that, like,
And that's an
with
excellent
what Eric
question.
Mason, I don't know, maybe that's, might be a bit much, but, I know like when they redid the porch at Molly Brown, there were a lot of pieces of stone and stuff that people were interested in
Oh, we could sell
having
it.
or keeping, or,
Yeah.
they did
Make
do
little
that.
necklaces.
They made like jewelry out of it. Probably a giant piece of concrete around your neck is nothing.
Right, that's not gonna happen.
No, but I think it's,
But it's absolutely
It's
spot
it's a
on.
valid
It
idea.
is.
Yeah.
If there's some that has the intricate detail, obviously just any piece of concrete is probably not.
I will look into that. I think that's a fine idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
You'd
the
be
city's
surprised
gonna
when
create a mold
Mhm. Yeah.
based on the shape that it is.
It's not a mold,
Yeah.
they'll do that by hand.
Okay, but they're gonna create something so that it
It
builds
looks,
another
it should
curve
be the
exactly
same
as-
dimensions, the same
Curve.
pencil detailing on top.
And in the
Did-
forethought behind that is because of drainage reasons, that's why
Yeah,
they're
it's
doing it.
it's part of the overall city system, so they've got, and they have to add the pan. So they add that bottom piece of concrete that becomes the gutter. So the curb itself will have this form like we have. But there will be now a new
And
part
then
like you
these-
see on every street.
Yeah.
And they were adamant that
I
has to
absolutely
happen or
understand it,
endanger the road failing.
but it's still a somewhat disappointing that we can't see the curb. You know, I know, if we could only have it all, but anyway.
But it's just the curb, it is not the sidewalk.
It's not the sidewalk and
It's
it's not the driveway.
Okay.
Just the curb.
And did Sue Ellen get to talk with Anne Cleve about the city's decision there to confirm that all's well with History Colorado?
That we're not gonna have any problems with that.
That's-
History Colorado doesn't get to choose how the city
I
does their
understand.
streets, so
I
no, we
understand.
did not. I did go to historic board and chatted with, they did not have a quorum, so I informally chatted with the chairman and another member about what we were doing, and they understood, and supported that we're getting
Is that-
something that looks similar.
Yeah, is that the city's historic commission?
Yeah, commission.
Okay, the only reason I'm asking is that because it's tied, because the work for the driveway is tied to the grant. The state and the city are under contract, and I wanna make sure that.
Right, but the city is not working on the driveway.
Right, but there's no question in History Colorado's mind that would compromise the project anyway, right?
That is not a part of the scope of the project.
No, the
Yeah,
curb
but-
isn't.
Well,
When
let
the
me be
when
clear,
the
that
curbs-
is not a part of the scope of the project.
Right, the curb
Okay.
isn't,
Right.
however,
So that's what we're talking about, the
historic
curb,
nature,
the curb.
yeah.
And this historic board of the state does not get to say how the city runs their streets. We're making accommodations to make it look, well, it's not, they're not gonna get any more than that, so I'm not going to check with the state on that.
Right.
It's a city decision for their streets, and they are being gracious enough to do the form,
Absolutely.
which they did not do on Terry, by
Right.
the way, so.
But,
I'm
and
getting more
we
than
did
we're used to
request,
yet.
we did request at the last meeting, could we please see if we could keep the form? So I'm pleased that we got the form. I hear what Karen's also saying, that she's just concerned about the tying into the driveway. And should we not at least discuss it, that we will be replacing the curb, and just make it as a statement, the curb's going to be replaced and it's going to be tying in.
I mean,
in
She was here when we talked about that.
Okay, that's what we're asking.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I was on Teams on that meeting because I was not feeling well. But she was here when we were talking about concrete out here, and the meeting was happening out on the concrete. And I believe that the talk of the city doing their thing was brought up, but I'm not 100%. So we can tell her.
I think it's more
be
like
glad to
telling
tell her.
and then
I
just
think
say
it's important
it's,
to disclose it.
it's just that we're gonna tie it together.
It's not their thing. So.
It isn't their thing, and it's not their decision, but if we could just disclose it ahead of time so we can skirt any issues. In the sense that
Just that we've been transparent.
that we're not hiding anything.
If that satisfies you guys, I'm glad to do it. It's just send her emails.
I'm just concerned,
Sounds good, thanks.
it's,
I'm not concerned about it all, but I'd be glad to send an email.
Okay,
thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ben, for
Sure.
that update. Okay, can we move on to the next one, or is there any more discussion?
I have a question about, we have before photos, right? Where did Swelling go?
She's dealing with something on the phone, so
Okay.
I
Before
whatever she
photos,
has going on.
Of the
We were gonna
projects?
take,
No, they did,
They
Swelling indicated that they took a lot of before photos.
Of the driveway?
of
Of
it.
the project.
Of the
projects.
The house.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of those.
And so, what I'm gonna ask is that those photos be provided to me so I can include them in the scrapbook.
Sure.
Thank you.
Is that,
Where did you see those photos at?
I was last year, I think Kathy gave me a little zip drive that had pictures of, Sheila Rowder took pictures of everything.
This would be good for any,
Said that
we're
they've
doing like a
done
newsletter
very
announcement.
Do you still have that zip drive?
Yes,
I gave the
exactly.
zip drive
Good
back
for
to her, but I might have
that,
downloaded,
good
I think I
for,
downloaded some of the
times to
pictures,
call.
but she
Really
had.
good for
might be up
multiple
there, yes,
reasons. But yes, also needs to be in the scrapbook.
I'm sure we can take care of that.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along to Callahan House Advisory Board annual report to City Council. Now, as we know, that's going to be given to the city council, but we
It's
won't
a-
have a group of people there to read it.
It's already been submitted.
Oh, it's been submitted, so that's, when is that, what meeting is that gonna take place at?
I believe it was last night.
Oh, okay, so that's on the day.
It was, we were planning on the previous one, and something behind the scenes in the technical back and forth did not happen, so I believe it was in last night's packet.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that got taken care of. The next thing is the April 26th open house. I wasn't able to come because I had recently had surgery. Anybody who was there wanna give a summary of how they thought about it?
It was nice. I think the people that came were happy to be here and grateful that the house was open. It wasn't very, very highly attended, unfortunately, but I think it was
How
good for
many-
those that came.
Anybody get a count on how many?
Well, Sue and had the
17.
count.
17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
17?
low
Maybe
count.
it's lightly
That
attended.
is what I
Very
call
lightly
it.
attended.
Yeah.
And I think it's in two parts. Not a whole lot of notice to the public, only 2 weeks in the constant contact.
It was in Facebook, I saw it. It was out there.
Anyway, that and then the time of day was a little bit complicated because it's still work hours that we were overlapping. So it's something for us to think about for the next open house that's going to be midweek. So we'll want a little
Are you
bit more
thinking
lead time on
later?
notice to the community.
Later hours?
Potentially a little later in the evening rather than, 4 o'clock when
People are
people
still
are
at work.
potentially still working.
Yeah.
So it's something for us to think about for next time. One very positive thing I think is that we did start the guest list, so we have some people signed up to be on our news, which Sue Ellen would submit to all of our guests on the guest list up to 4 times a year. So that's nice. And also, a gentleman named Aaron Klass attended, and he has he has the Merchant Tailor Museum. It's a comprehensive collection of men's garments produced between 1845 and 1865.
Sorry.
Actually, I met this gentleman and recommended that he come and attend the open house. And they're here in Longmont, and they do men's attire, historic men's attire. And I thought, wow, that's a good idea. They just have recently started and got their 501c3, so they're a nonprofit, and they are really excited to work with the community on any events. So that was something that I thought of possibly having for our art walk, have something like that, and have because I also attended an event
Can we set this into new business?
Well, it actually ties, it's based off
the
of
open
the
house.
open house.
Okay, because we're getting into art walk here, so I was wondering if we could move this into new business.
I just had a question. How many art walks, or I know we're overlapping, just how many art walks are there? Just one.
Yeah, we don't do the spring one.
So is that the reason why we've added open houses?
Well,
Just for access to the
yes,
house.
we need community access to the house. At least once a quarter is a good choice. It's a good scale to.
I guess in light of that, my suggestion would be that we look at other things the city is doing downtown, because they are doing a lot of other things.
Yes,
And then maybe we piggyback on something else that's going on at the same time, like we did with Art Walk,
Right.
and maybe we'll get more people.
I agree, and I did reach out and contacted the Longmont. I'm sorry, I'm blocking on things, but I reached out to the chamber and asked for their chamber events and everything that was taking place in downtown, and trying to piggyback, because I think that's a great idea as well.
Now we get more
Because-
people.
Yeah, I think so.
I would mention that the one we did last July, which we did on an off night, I believe it was like a Thursday night, was actually really successful, and it didn't have to do with any other things, so it could be related to time of year also. So and I was we were really questionable about how many people we get. And if I remember, that one had, it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
It
people.
could have been the early time, that is, like I said, a lot of people just getting off work or picking up their kids from daycare and that type of thing. So maybe go from 6 to 8 or something, or sometime like that.
Let's look at that time.
Something for us to think about.
But we did not, I mean, doing it on off night has not, that alone has not been what I'm, is what I'm saying. It's
right.
not been what has caused this to be either successful or not.
Right.
It's, because it was really successful.
Yeah, I
in
remember.
July, so.
So we'll have to keep that as a point of discussion then, on changing the time possibly, or piggybacking on something else. Okay. Now, we already discussed the Kirby project, so I think we've covered that, and the memorial donation, we've kind of covered that. Is there any other input that anybody wanted to put out there? Okay, well, let's move along to new business then.
Oh, you
Actually,
got it.
we have a historic photo request that's been.
Oh, I'm
announced.
sorry, I had an arrow on here and everything and I missed it. Okay, historic photo request, Chillicothe, Illinois. And everybody got a chance to look at the letter that was sent? I think that's really interesting. And,
I tried to blow up the articles.
yeah.
You could actually.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
that's excellent, that's
Yeah, that was
excellent.
nice that we did that. It was great.
I think we have what he is asking if we had better pictures, and I think we do have
I
quite a.
talked with him actually, I gave him a quick call, and he did get in touch with Eric Mason, and he did get the pictures
Oh,
that he was looking
Oh,
for
that's
from the
great.
museum archive, so that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, also got the names of the Golden Rule Syndicate, because that's who these gentlemen are, the Golden Rule Syndicate.
Yeah.
J.C. Penney, John Hood, Guy Johnson, T.M. Callahan, and Drew Kersey. Those are the 5 partners, so.
Which one is Penny?
J.C. Penney is the one on the far left.
I was gonna say with the mustache. but-
Yeah, hard to tell.
They all kind of look alike.
Karen,
And-
thank you for
and-
following through with
But
that.
he's wonderful. He's working on a really interesting project, and it's for Chillicothe, and it does tie in the Callahans. So he's going to probably plan to come out for a visit to see the house and stuff. So I said, keep us tuned in on when you're coming so we can make the house available so you can take a look.
Right.
He also emailed me another article that, because I told him, thank you for the articles and it'll be helpful. We'll include them in the scrapbook because they tie to Thomas Callahan.
Yeah.
But he sent me another one as well, one more to include, and I can forward it on to you all electronically so you can
I appreciate that.
scroll in
I
and
think
out.
it'd be neat.
But I think all of these will be really great in the scrapbook. And an interesting project he's working on. He's from Chillicothe, but he lives in Texas. So so he's doing this project kind of working with it. He's doing a lot of travel to and from, but it seems like it's coming along nicely. But he was very interested in the house and seeing where J.C. Penney's meat market was. He said, I can kind of show you where that was. Yeah, let us know when you're in town. So that was neat. But yes, Eric Mason took great care of it.
As a historian, you should
As
take that
Eric
on.
would.
Yes, he would.
It's great. And then we've got another contact. I think it's fabulous.
So thank you so much.
That must have been a surprise to get, that letter first went to Kathy's and then you got it, right? So that must have been a surprise to get a letter like that. Yeah, interesting. Okay, now can we go to new business? I think I'm following this right. Okay, the next item would be the past and present board member wall project. And as far as I know, it's kind of on hold because we're not gonna hang anything up for a little while, right?
Correct.
We're not,
It's not really on hold. It's, I mentioned in the last meeting that I bring a mock-up so that people get an understanding of the size of this list, basically.
Oh, is that
Yeah, it would look a little bit like this. And again, this is just a mock-up. So something that can show you size-wise. So we're not taking up the entire wall like we are going to take up the whole wall for the house manager's photos. But this can go on a separate wall that is not as large and it won't take up a lot of space. And but it does include 90 women who've served the board for the last 85 years. It's significant history. So this acknowledges all of these women. It provides transparency of history for the community as a visual here in the house too. It also promotes volunteerism, particularly for this board. And there's no cost to the house. This is a donation by me, and it's easy updating. I have the file formatted so that all you do is simply go in, and at the top of the document, you start to add new names in the decade. And it shuffles everything down. So easy.
Add to the bottom, and then you don't have to keep reprinting everything all the time.
Well, the idea was that keep the most current up top, and then go to the most historic. And so
I have a
be
couple-
consistent with
It's
that
beautiful.
plan.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But I still have concerns that it's rather big. We're really tight for wall space. We don't have a lot. Don't look at. We don't have a lot of wall space.
Britt and I were up during the open house, looking at that, trying to figure out, well, where it's at. We didn't have a good feel for
I'm
the
thinking
scope
in
of
the
it.
office.
Which wall where do we put it?
The other thing is, it's going to grow. It's not going to get, unless you keep reducing the font.
There's
It's
room
going
for it to grow. Obviously, you can see this room here, and then all this room down here.
And we had discussed at one point about possibly clicking plaques, and it was Candy that said absolutely not, because, and I agree, that it would just be too much, and it'd be,
So
this
we
is what we came up
consolidated
with,
and came down
with
to
the,
something very
what was agreed
You know,
upon.
yeah,
and
I'm
concise and
hesitant.
small.
It's pretty, but I don't think, I think it should be online. That's my thing, because online you can still have a link and it'd be beautiful, but.
We're looking at putting a visual of house managers over the year on a whole wall.
I know,
And, you know, that's
that's
15,
quite a bit
16.
right there. Yeah.
But it's important because it does capture the history. It's important for the community to be able to see that history. And it's not much to put the list of these
Where-
90 women, volunteers, through
Okay.
85 years,
Where
on
are
the
you
wall, so they
suggesting we hang it?
probably just outside the bathroom.
Where outside the bathroom?
If you are walking into the bathroom, there's a wall on the right.
So we're kind of taking that whole hallway basically for pictures and for our stuff.
For historic
Our stuff.
information. It is for the public to see the history of the house, who worked there, who volunteered there over all the years.
I'd suggest that it for sure gets put online. And then we go ahead and let Karen do what she's done, and you'll be in charge of it. You keep it up. As it is, that isn't too terribly big to manage, to find a place. I don't know what's there right now.
I don't either. It's
There's
probably
an
artwork.
It's doable. It's very doable.
So I say we for sure get it put online, so
Do
it's
it
there.
online.
In case that does become too cumbersome. Or,
Yeah, I'm looking, because it's
Yeah,
gonna have to be
yeah.
updated yearly.
Which is not a problem. This is so simple.
This is something that's already
Anyone
been
who knows how to
discussed,
use
that's
it.
why I guess I'm taken back, because it was already discussed and it was agreed upon, and so I don't know why it keeps on getting brought back up.
Well, when we discussed it last year, I was thinking of a 9-11, a legal size document, and then it's grown to it's pretty, I mean, it's beautiful, but I just.
Well, what's represented here is not just the 90 ladies over 85 years, but this beautiful letterhead that Tom Callahan had designed. The gate that was designed by board members later. And I don't know, it was probably sometime in your time that this was, early on, this was developed and designed, which is beautiful.
I'm gonna admit to that one or
And 7 quotes from 7, significant women regarding volunteerism, and 7 representing the 7 board members. So it's very with purpose and with history. So I'd like
So
to
it's
support
up to everybody, but, and I'm hesitant, I'm just very hesitant that I don't know where we're gonna put it, but.
Well,
this is actually the easy part. The house manager pictures is
It was
much
the
more
hard part.
significant.
and the fact that we weren't gonna hang it until after work has been done. And so, and I guess again, we can take another vote on it, but I thought it was already voted upon and past minute and meeting that this was agreed upon, and I don't understand
Well,
why.
the size is what's changed my mind. I was thinking of a one
I don't know
small,
how you get 90 ladies' names on one small little.
well, and I,
And that's
I
kind of
didn't expect
insignificant, given
Well-
all of the years and all of the ladies, all of that time, all of that volunteers.
I didn't know there was gonna be, pictures. It's pretty, I mean, I gotta say, it's pretty, you've done a beautiful job, I'm just concerned that it's larger than I expected.
It's historic, and it's
I
not
envision that being framed under glass or.
probably so. And so we're talking about maybe another inch on each side. This is totally manageable. And to take the back out and replace, I'll make it so super easy to replace the pages. Easy. Trust me, this is easy.
And we would hope to see it where you're intending to have it for those that aren't sure about it, or just in general.
Just outside the bathroom on the wall. It'll work.
Yes,
Perfect size.
work, stuff that's been put up on that wall probably needs to be arranged, but again,
I think
it's all within context of the house. I don't,
Mhm. It's historic information, so, and it's
The
important.
information is absolutely.
Yeah, but
valuable.
it's
That's
information,
important.
I just-
Yeah,
And
that's.
to have the visual here in the house, when people are walking through the house and they can see it, not only is it a capture, a snapshot of all of that history, all of these women, but it's also a reminder that, oh, there's an advisory board for this house. I really like this house, maybe I will apply for the advisory board.
that was one of the other things that
Because volunteers.
when we were discussing doing this and when it was agreed upon that we were gonna do this, part of it was also for when people are walking through and touring the home, they would see this as well as the other things, up on, besides the manager's, wall. And this was one of the things of using it as a subtle promotion to get possibly more community members involved.
It's multi-purpose. It's acknowledgement and a visual for people to get involved.
Are we beating this thing to death? Can we,
I think we need to move on. I think
It's basically the same size as a piece of artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
simple.
Is posting it something that you want to do a vote on? I don't know.
not really.
I think we should vote on,
We've already
put it
done.
online, well, but
Yeah,
getting it
we'll put
online.
it on-
Getting it
We'll put it online
We need to-
too.
okay, I'll put a motion forth that it be posted and listed online on the Callahan House site, so we have access to this. So it is there historically that way. I'll need a second.
And can we include, and that it will be a physical image on the wall that is like.
No,
house manager
I
pictures.
disagree because we've already taken a,
That's
we've
our-
already taken
So
a
we've
vote
already
on it.
decided that
It
we're
was
doing that.
already decided and voted on and passed meeting. I don't know why we're reading.
Well, it's the size. I voted for it a year ago, but I didn't know it was gonna be this big, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was
I guess we'll
discussed-
have to, when we vote
I
on
say
something.
we go with it, cause we've already
Yeah,
decided
we
to do it.
but in the future, let's
And
get all
if it doesn't work out, we can change our mind.
Yeah.
Or a future board can change their minds.
Okay, so,
So I second her motion.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed, okay. But it is beautiful.
And it's really fun, it's kind of a fun and interesting history too, because for several years, women went by their husbands' names. And so they're listed here that way too. So it shows that history
Yeah.
of, this is how women were called in the
They're
30s, in the
represented.
40s, and the 50s, and,
Mrs. Tom
So,
Jones.
and along with it, it has their name, so it has their husband's name, and then out to the side, their first name, so.
Very good.
Nice
It's
acknowledgement.
very historic.
All right, moving right along.
Historic record, yes.
Our next item is to talk about committee for policy for donations and contributions, and I think this is an important one that we should, do we wanna do it as a whole, do we want a separate committee, or do we want to just something the board to work on?
I think it should be,
I think that's committee work,
a committee work and
and
then,
anyone can be involved. I think it should include anyone who's interested.
So who's interested? Looks like the whole board.
well, I think it's important because this is one of those things that if we had this policy in place, we would have had this, about donations, about, memorials, any of that. It needs to be covered, and if we have that policy in place for the future, it's important.
Yeah, and having a committee would be great because then the work can be done outside of the board meeting and brought back to the board meeting.
Edited,
Yes.
approved, whatever.
Would anybody like to lead that up or head that up? Or do you just want to have a group?
I would like to.
You want to head that up, Brittany?
I'll accept the donation.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
So I got Brittany, Cindy, Karen, Bruce, who else? Marie?
I don't think you need more than four.
Yeah, I think that's, I was,
And then you just need to set up a time, Brittany, that works for
What
you,
works
Can
for
do.
you.
and when we can meet.
Will do.
okay.
And when you guys come up with this, we'll take it to legal in the city.
Yes.
I'm
Sure.
fully in support of what you're doing, but I
Right.
just
You're
wanna make
absolutely
sure
right.
we're not
Exactly.
going against anything we already have.
Yeah, we wanna
Yep.
follow city policy at all.
Absolutely right, thank you, then.
So maybe we can reference city donations and how they handle things. Certainly you have that through your department,
Oh, do we have some documents about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
so we could
Yeah, good to see that.
hunt it down. We're not asking you to do it, we can do
Except
it.
for folder for
That should be.
That's
Parks has their own, Parks has their own
I'm sorry.
policies for that.
More stuff on your plate.
They deal with a lot, we don't deal with ours a whole lot, but.
We had it together in a wish book, strangely enough. I got it.
Okay.
So is there a format or something that you could share with Brittany?
That's what she just saying. was
So
she
you're
said.
gonna, okay, thank you,
so.
yeah.
All right, that's great. So I think that will work out good. Next on the list is Art Walk, and that's September 19th. And I have a request here for the board. What day? September 9th? 9th. Yeah, did I say that?
I heard 19.
Yeah.
That's because I have the TH by the 9.
Oh,
It's like
gotcha.
a 1.
Oh, September 9th.
9. Right. I would, like for the last, well, since 2017, I've kind of been the lead for Art Walk and getting artists, but everybody contributes, everybody on the board. But I'd like to ask if anybody would like to work with me this year because I'm turned out at the end of this year. So if anybody likes working with artists, I'll take it. Yeah, and then if we could work, and then you can take it over in future years.
Okay.
What it is you're the point person. I mean, obviously everybody.
I'm
does it.
sorry, Ann, I have spoken with you privately that I had like to work on that. And that's one of those things that you've been pretty obstinate that you want to do it yourself.
Well, it's not me. This is how it's been. I mean, I took it over from Shirley Noreen, and she took it over from somebody. That's not me being. It's how the board has done it for years.
I don't think there's any problem with both of
We can
them.
all, I mean,
Yeah, everybody
we have
can. I'm
to
just-
work
I don't
on
think
it.
there's
and
any-
it would be
I
great.
was not
I think
being
the
obstinate
more
to
eyes
take
on
it over
stuff,
after.
better. Yeah.
I was just following this is how it's been done for how many years? I don't know. As long as we've been in Art Walk, so I just took it over. And I've always asked the board at every, when we get close, does anybody have any artists they want to recommend? I've always asked for that. But you really need a point person because somebody has to make sure.
Right. Somebody needs to be the point.
So I have one request for Art Walk, and that is that we include a feature on the grant work. So we need to somehow incorporate that as a featured,
I picture
something
a
that
tripod
provides,
with
something that provides the
a board
community,
that says this is what we're doing.
the ability to see, oh, this is what's been going on, this is what that grant was for, and this is the work that's been going on.
Right.
I think that that's important, it serves many purposes, so if we could
You want
just
like one
ensure that
room
we have
dedicated?
one room dedicated.
Well, that'd be a good one for the
to
parlor.
feature.
'Cause that's-
Exactly.
That's what we kind of did last time we did those.
It might be good in
Before
the
and after
parlor, or it
plans.
might be
Yes,
better in the
exactly.
library
I
since
think
the
we should have
window
That's true.
is being restored.
So yeah, we could pick.
So I might suggest the library only because the window, that curved window, and it's really important to put your eyes on
The
that
other
curved window
thing
to
is-
understand that.
is upstairs, I don't know if we're gonna continue doing this, but we've always had that set up with chairs with a video playing of the history. And it's about a 10-15 minute video, and that would be a room we could to put to that use too. Since we're already taking up that room with, historical.
I'm gonna suggest that it be in the library. It's significant, the window is significant, the historic curved beveled leaded glass window. They need to have the opportunity to actually look at that.
And you say in that it's like gonna be a poster board with information, or what is the it?
Well, that's to be determined by all of us, I think, based on
potentially
the
have
pictures
places.
and, but based on the pictures that are being taken, the before and during and after, and those would probably be incorporated in the display. We can certainly include a copy of the grant application that was written that says, okay, here's this that was submitted and when, and this is the date that it was awarded, and here's the scope of work and these 4 projects that this grant covered. So having all of that is, I think, all of that should be included. The exact display yet to be determined by us later, I think, more likely in a
Could we also?
July or August board meeting, since we'll be closer to completion, maybe being,
The
maybe.
work
approving-
hasn't started,
Yeah.
so I don't
Everything's
know.
Everything's
Okay,
up there.
so if we can just,
Could we tentatively plan for it and then possibly consider putting the books and the other pictures in that area as well to sell?
yes,
Yeah, we have to, because otherwise we lose 2 rooms and that.
That's right, that's actually a good idea to combine the two.
If we combine the two and then we get that space, and then if we can maybe not put so many chairs out for the video upstairs, we could also use part of that room. I mean, that's a large space upstairs that we could also put an additional something of art.
we don't have to have the DVD running on a loop.
I mean, that's just always
I
been
mean,
done, so we don't.
It's something that has been done, it's not something
Well-
that has to be done, so we can certainly,
It seems popular
Free
though, I mean, there's people who sit in there and watch it.
if that's
It's
something
been
we
like,
wanna do.
did you do it this time? Of course, you only had 17 people, so.
Right, no, you did not do that.
But the upside to, I'll say one last thing. The upside to having, that room free and without a video is that the docents can actually speak about the room.
Mhm.
So, we'll have
So
artists
whatever.
throughout the house, but
So maybe this is the one time we don't run it, and maybe we consider putting that on our, having that run during the open houses instead, just a thought.
I can't.
I was just gonna say we could also put an easel in the room to point out the windows and show the before pictures and after. And that's maybe all you need to do.
That's
So
what I'm
that,
thinking.
and anywhere else in the house that maybe something has been redone, just some sort of an easel sitting beside it so that people.
Pointing it out.
One of those floor easels or a table easel?
What?
One of the big floor easels or just a table easel?
Well,
Tabletop easel.
To be determined, but
Yeah.
I mean, as you go through the house, it doesn't have to be a big, huge display or
No.
anything, but just point out. Or the docent in the room points out, this was part of the
Well,
program.
and then we could then add all the historical stuff more upstairs, and
Yes.
then have the books and
Books.
everything for
Mhm.
sale and whatnot, then we run the video,
Mhm.
and it's all in one space.
Do we
That's,
sell the video?
Mhm.
With the books?
We do sell?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
I
right,
think it's
that's
nice to
right.
have, I mean, people learn and are interested in different ways, so it might be nice to have that audiovisual aspect along with the, just different aspects of which
So,
people can learn, so. the
Will
video
there be
seems
someone
like a good
upstairs,
idea.
who can handle a credit card machine?
we'd have to
We'll
have
get that
somebody.
worked.
We'll work on that, okay,
Yeah.
that's cheaper.
I'm wondering if, the August meeting would be, you would go through almost 2 work periods for the grant. And the August meeting would let you know if you have the data, or what data you'd like to have
Right.
to create
That's
for
good.
the September, art walk. So, maybe that would be the meeting where you'd wanna spend more time deciding if there's a subcommittee who would decide who would create this stuff and what they could put in there.
Yeah.
Like, the windows will either be done.
Right.
In process or postponed.
Right,
Like,
right,
you'll
right,
know
right.
all those things
Whatever
then.
the status
Although-
was at that time, we can address
although-
it. But we can also include the History Colorado. You know why you have a sign in the front window.
Mhm.
Yeah. We need to respectfully acknowledge their grant.
If
And,
we
and,
wanna
and
get
that's part of
future
it, that
funding,
we're,
it's
so.
really important. And
And
So-
it's part of what was in the grant application. So if you go
We
back
did.
through and read it, the things that we're promising we're doing, that's part of it.
So that being said though, for planning purposes, if we plan to put the historic stuff up in that space, that allows the committee then to decide where to put other art. We can't wait until August to contact artists. It will be way too far in the camp that it's pushing it. I mean, if you want artists in here, it's
I know.
best to get them in.
Well, I think the idea is we'll have some kind of visual of the grant work, whether it be in progress, completed,
Well, one
something, so we can plan a space for it and then plan around that, and it'll just be whatever information is key on the
Normally,
visual,
yeah.
it's figured out.
We don't put artists upstairs anymore. We've tried that in the past. It doesn't work very well. It's one thing, it's really hard for them to haul everything up and downstairs. So the last couple of years, and I know we had time off for COVID, but we decided, you know, we got 4 rooms down here, that works out real well. So that's one reason I'm thinking we could put a lot of this stuff upstairs, and that won't affect them. We won't have to worry about, oh, we don't have a room for an artist.
And
I'd
we use the
actually-
carriage house too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
and
just
the
gonna
carriage
say,
house,
I'd
yeah.
like us to use the auto house. I'd like us to open that up
I
again.
don't know
so
if
that
you
we
have
can-
that event. I don't know.
Everything's just up in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, could be.
It could be, we could all be done.
Right.
Like, and then it'd be
And
total
we
culture shoot.
We have put artists, I remember the first year I did it, we had an artist up there and he liked it, but he didn't get a lot of traffic. We were kind of pushing people, we encouraged people to go out there, but a lot of them kind of looked and did, but still, he got a little traffic.
We
out
did
there.
have the paper dress upstairs and that was really good in the bridal.
In the bride's room, but.
But if we have these people, like the historic people that could come in and show clothing, and I also have contact with state for women's clothing, that might be something that we could consider putting up in the bridal room.
I think that's a good idea. I like that. You know, the hardest thing is to find the darn mannequins. I mean, you have 2 of them. Now we know that. But,
I donated them,
Oh,
so we should have them.
yeah, that's, I think historic dressing goes well with the house.
So that's,
Probably more so than the paper dresses, which were kind of off the wall
Right,
sometimes.
yeah.
well, but that's a thought, and then we can work on that together, and that'll be good. So, is there anything else? Then we'll just wait for the rest of it until the August meeting.
For the grant, for the people who are doing the grant display.
Okay.
That's all that I would just request, is the grant display part.
All right, so plenty to talk about on that then. So, is there any other art walk business you want to talk about?
Should we, Karen, you've been intricate in doing the grant stuff. Do you want to work on the grant display?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
And that would be one less thing than.
Yeah. But
is that-
again, I'll head that up, and it'll start in August. But anyone else who's interested, I would love anyone else who's interested to join in. It's gonna be lots of fun.
Okay, sounds good. All right, moving on to number 7, items from the staff. And I know Karen, you came in with a bunch of stuff. So. Is that what items from the staff?
Not the staff.
Ben and I get to be staff.
I'm like, wait a minute, when did I get hired?
Okay, I'm sorry, I read that wrong, I considered all
That's
this
okay.
staff. Okay, items from staff, that's you guys.
That's me, I'll jump because I had a few things. So just on page 4 of the packet, that's just a visual of the activities that are happening or have happened this year at the Callahan House. And the asterisk things are the whole building, or the whole grounds, like the house and the garden, that's what the asterisk is. After like that March 24th wedding and reception has an asterisk, that was the house and the grounds. So they went both places.
Okay.
So those are the things that we have listed. You know, we talked about May 15th being some concrete work. We don't necessarily anticipate that concrete work will prohibit some of these things are already scheduled from happening, like they're not weddings, they're meetings, they're things that aren't worried about a big photo element, and it houses a rather small number of people. So we do have some things happening in May. We've got that block off time frame, and then we jump into walking tours and weddings and quinceaneros and things like that. And then we have that July block off. We roll right into more weddings with Art Walk is September 9th. And then we go block off for October, November, and then we jump into, the end of the year. Boom.
Looks good.
That's
Which
great.
we
Isn't
may
that
be able to
confidence in
open
your-
up October, November, depending on
Right.
where we're at by
Exactly.
end of July.
Right.
Or end of August, I guess.
Great to have this visual.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks so much, I appreciate it.
So an asterisk represents that they are using house and garden.
Correct.
And
So
which
that's
of
what
all
it
of these is revenue generating?
I think many of them are, the tours are not.
So I
I guess if it's a wedding,
That's Jen.
that's generating. Kindred Spirits on May 21st is revenue. The Disability Support Services is revenue. Many of them are revenue.
The reason I'm asking is because when you're doing a year-end report for the board, for city council, we need to, like we have done for the
It's
past.
being captured.
We need to go ahead and identify which are revenue generating,
It's-
which are clubs, which are,
It's captured already. She just
It's
didn't put it in the
captured.
report.
I'm being fluid and trying different things that I report to you. Trying for every 3 months, giving you that hardcore one that we did last time. I don't have the bandwidth at the moment. So I'm trying to give you guys stuff along the way so you know that things are happening and why things are where they're at. But
So-
we are keeping track of
So
inquiries.
every 3 months, we should get the,
The inquiries by
Wonderful.
site and the different things.
thank you so much.
Out of curiosity, what is Kindred Spirits? Is that an event that we get regularly, or?
It is a paranormal
Oh, it's
experience.
okay.
Kind of what I wonder.
Yeah.
And then the walking tours, I know we discussed this before, they come into the house, or they have not in the past, and maybe they'll start?
They've done both,
Okay.
and we have either Jacqueline or Betsy scheduled to work each of those so that they can indeed enter the house.
Very cool. Okay.
If everything's able, like if they can get here because of concrete work or things like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
If they can't come in, they've done it that way as well, so they're flexible and able to roll with it as it goes.
And I understand it's not a long period of time, it's like
No.
15 minutes.
Correct, it's very brief.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
they've got a
Eric
lot of
has
stuff.
plenty more to take them on their tour, but yeah, they stop in here for about 15 minutes. Excuse me.
Okay.
And then, trying to put these all together, we find on page 11, that's the job announcement for the Callahan House Manager. It is posted on May 5th. It will close at 5 p.m. on May 22nd. We currently, well, as of yesterday, we had 2 applicants. One also applied for intro front desk, so probably not our most qualified applicant. We just kind of went through and picked all the jobs with the city, perhaps. And then the other individual, has some nice experience, is more in a sports focus than a historical focus in their life, so.
Well, I hope it's somebody good.
I imagine they will.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people who need to work right now.
Yes, you will make me so happy.
Yeah. So happy. You found a good break.
I told Mayor Beck how hard you were working. I feel her earful.
I did tell Ben I will not be at the June meeting, because I'm gonna get married and I'm not coming to
Oh,
your meeting.
What?
You're not getting married.
What?
Why did you're gonna get married?
And still
Congratulations.
come anyway.
Still-
yes.
Congratulations is all I'm gonna
That's
say.
a lot of
Very,
stuff
very
going
happy for
on,
you.
there's a lot of stuff going on, but,
Yeah.
but I think Ben will probably rope me into doing the packet, so that'll be nice.
Probably.
That's good.
Yes.
So I have a quick question. Is it possible to include some more language in here? I know that this is a job posting that the city has posted. The only reason I'm asking to add just a little bit more language is because it may pull up keywords that when people are doing an employment search or a job search, those keywords
Not at
might,
this time.
okay. connect with people who are a little more
Because it's been
qualified.
posted.
It's
one
already
day.
posted.
It's already posted.
It's already done.
And the way the city puts it on the job site, you're welcome to look at it. They're individual PAFs, so the content therein isn't searchable as part of the job posting process for the city.
The city, but they're,
The city.
we've also posted, where did also we post this one?
We did it on Indeed, and so
Okay.
that's posted there too. I think those are the two that we would.
That's been the most, Indeed's been the most
Successful.
successful one, you know, outside for immigration, and that's a
Right.
different sort of story.
Well, a couple weeks, yeah. If it could be updated on Indeed, that would be good because a lot of people are searching in
It
different.
cannot,
Oh,
we
okay.
cannot update it now that it's posted, that would not be appropriate for us to do that.
Okay.
If we go out again for posting, I'll be glad to take a suggestion.
Would you like those suggestions now in case that
No.
between now and whenever the closing is the 22nd, so I guess.
No, we would reopen.
We'd have to-
I will be glad to contact you with that if we do.
Okay. It's just about historic restoration and preservation, and those keywords might be helpful, finding the right qualified person,
But I can't go back in time on that.
I understand.
I do have one thing, oven saga.
Oh, the oven.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's in the hallway.
it is, no, it's in the auto house. Was able to get, after a month, a company to come out and look at getting it in, getting the old one out. He felt like they could create the angles with it, take certain parts off
Get
for
it.
both and make it happen. And now it's been 3 weeks since I've heard from them, so.
Oh,
So I have,
that's not a good sign.
I'll call them back and get them out here. They're a company that's done work many times for the city, but getting folks to do work, as I think everybody knows, is a real challenge.
Especially a little project like that.
But they definitely knew he knew what he was talking about as far as, being professionals about getting this stuff in and out and not damaging and all that, so I felt like it was the right guy, I just gotta get it.
Right.
Is there be another possible, I mean, not right now, but maybe making a service door here into this porch? You know, because we already have a door, just make it a little bigger.
No, that would mess up the historic
The integrity of the
property.
structure, that's not a.
Well, there's probably a way to do that if you maintain what it looks like, and
Right.
maintain that. It's not something we have a plan for.
Okay, I just wondered if it
Anything
would
like
make
that
it
at this
deliveries
point.
easier in the future.
It would, it's a
Okay.
that door is a real challenge,
Oh, I bet.
so. But we'll get it in there.
You don't see
I
it.
had to get it from Golden Van Lines first. They had stored it for like 10 months, and I got it here, got a guy out, so it's.
Hey, you're making progress.
This oven,
We could turn the
do
auto
I
house
get in
into a
my
kitchen.
house or do we get the oven in this house?
Right, exactly.
That's my
That's it.
so that's update on it. We'll get there.
Okay, anything else?
Is-
Staff?
So is the current oven still working then? The current.
I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it is.
So there's no sort of safety or functionality issue.
Nothing that I know of with the current one. It was,
Do we have to change it out then? I
we
mean,
purchased a new oven. So, yeah,
Yes.
we
I know we did,
It-
but could that be resold?
There's a,
Okay.
It's not a,
when you use it, you can smell a lot of gas. Just saying.
That's not.
that's as good a comment as I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I
people,
mean,
just
we've
was
been here
wondering.
for events and people have said, I smell gas, I am concerned.
Yes.
Isn't
There.
that,
Is,
in my recollection, it seems like that oven was replaced before.
I'm sure that oven was replaced before.
Oh,
To
I'm
me,
sure
it
it
looks
was.
like
I
something,
remember too.
it looks like something from the 80s if I was
That's
just
what I was thinking.
ballpark guessing.
Yeah,
I guess that it's the
And
eighties.
and that
like
was the reason
everything,
it got brought in, because the other one smelled bad.
Right.
So
Maybe it's the gas line.
Or maybe it's the venting.
the vent looks really nice. I
The
can't-
vent looks
I
good,
mean, it
but-
looks good. When these guys hook it up, I'm gonna
They'll
have,
test it out.
yeah, and that's a part of this process is getting professionals to kind of, check the whole system, make sure everything's working right.
But it's awkward when you have a huge gathering here for my in-laws 60th anniversary, and everybody was panicking because they smelled gas.
That's appropriate.
So yeah, we'll
Yes,
get in there. We're getting there.
you're making great progress.
Yeah,
Hang in there.
we're appreciative, Patty.
Yes, we appreciate it.
We'll
Yeah.
take you things.
Okay, is there anything else, Ms. Daya? No? Okay, let's move on to now, items from the board. Anything to bring up?
Did anyone see the ad in the paper about the Sunshine Tea and Bake Sale? It's the Sunshine Club.
Yep.
It's a historic club, you know, they used to meet here at the Callahan House. And so, yeah, they're doing a neat fundraiser today, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., 353 Grant Street. So, their donations support dental screenings and care for St. Green Valley students, Senior Smiles with the Senior Center, Career Dental Scholarships, Emergency Family Assistance Association's Outlet Shelter, and Community Service Projects. So, just a very special club doing a
It is a very
and it's happening today. So,
And according to their records, they are the oldest club in Longmont.
yes,
They were established in 1906.
yes.
Wow. Can we ask why they left?
That's a good question.
What was
I
it?
would have to
Why
look
they
back.
don't meet
I would
here
have to look back
Why
in
they stopped meeting
minutes.
I'll tell you, my PEO group used to meet here. And Dr. Callahan, my teachers group, couldn't get up the stairs.
They got
As you grew older in the group, you couldn't get everybody upstairs. So that was it. And
We
the
still
front
have
steps
other meeting spaces, and that's one of the things is,
They went to meeting in people's homes. The groups got smaller in some cases. Like my Delta Kappa Gamma was much smaller. So they found a church to meet in, less costly. Or they meet in homes. So that was
Just changing demographics of the groups.
right. Yeah. You get into a habit. So like the PEO group I'm in, they meet in everybody's house. There's younger people in it. We can all get up the stairs now, I think. Still. But that was how it's
That's
gone
what
on for
happened.
several years, and so you fall into the habit.
I still think it's important that people need to know that we have the downstairs space
Oh, yeah.
too. That they don't have to meet upstairs.
Yeah, who's
Yeah, the
meeting in, yes,
the
the
PEO
PEO
group is
meeting here this morning, yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was special and I thought I would bring that to
What's
everyone's
the name of it?
attention.
Oh,
The Sunshine Club.
Sunshine Club.
They've been around since, well, when Alice was here.
And you've missed the bake sale. You have to be there early.
Get the good stuff.
It
Bigger.
just started 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So in
Oh,
other words,
bugger. Well, I'm
let's
gonna
hurry
have
up and
to-
close this so we can get
Yeah,
over the,
if you
it's
weren't
too late.
lying by
I
now.
have to ask
If he's gone.
Yeah.
I have to ask them to put me on their list and notice me next time.
So, recruit.
Cindy's house.
Yeah, okay. And
So
then,
is
of course,
that-
the Strawberry Festival is coming up May 20th and 21st. Kenny, you would know more about it. Are you still part of the
I'm
Historical
not really
Society?
involved very much anymore, but
But that's
if you've never
special.
been to the antique shows,
Yeah.
they're fun.
They're fun.
And strawberry shortcake, the first of the season, is really delicious.
Yeah, so that's coming up.
That's
Quite
hard
special.
to miss combinations.
Yeah,
It is quite special, these, and those go back in the day too.
Way back.
Way back, so,
Pumpkin days and strawberries
Pumpkin
and
pie,
days.
so. And then, one other thing, it's just an item, you know, when we went up and we were looking through and kind of touring through the house, I was showing Cindy and, Courtney with, around the house. We talked about, the closet is really full. We probably should schedule a time to go in and clean out the closet and organize it so that you can walk in there, so that guests, we can even pop the door open, guests can peek in there when they're here for the next open house. So can we schedule a closet cleanup day where we all get together?
Is that something we should do, or the new house manager should take care of that?
It's part of what we do because a lot of what's in there is board stuff.
Okay.
So,
'Cause I thought,
I'm gonna ask that you wait until we have a house manager and coordinate with them for
okay.
that. Okay, because that's,
There's
We gotta
It's
probably
a-
get in there to get.
I don't want
to
stuff
the,
getting tossed out without
No,
any
no,
city
no.
representative and
No, no.
things like that, so it's,
No,
it's,
But
it's something that's sat, so we can, to me, consider that. I would ask that you agree on that.
And we
Hopefully
should,
not that far away.
There's not that.
hopefully not
Well,
problem.
well, could we put that
It
on?
was just getting
on
to the materials that we sell for
Yeah.
open houses, those are in there. So
I-
it was just like, oh my
I
gosh, how do we get to it?
You know, with a new person, we kind of have a whole house refresh, so I'd like to look at that opportunity with that person.
Okay, let's put that on as a future agenda item of the meeting.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Possible?
Upstairs closet.
And I am fully in support of it. So all I know is I am when in doubt, throw it out in person.
Yes, I mean.
And I'm
Her and I are.
Yeah.
No, no.
Well,
Opposites.
we don't want to throw out historic
No,
stuff,
I-
we just need to get organized.
Yeah, organization.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, anything else? We can move on? Alrighty. That brings us to future agenda items. So the first item on there is house manager picture project, and I imagine Karen, you can give us an update on that.
Well, I think our update is, as we talked about last month, Solomon mentioned that as the workers are, contractors are coming in and doing the work in the house, the things that are in the hallways are gonna need to be removed to preserve them and keep them safe. And so all of that will happen, and so the hanging rail, the hanging rail that's going to be installed will need to be installed about at that time, and the wall restored in the places where there are some holes at that same time. Because then that way that all gets done while construction is happening, and nothing gets hung until construction is complete.
Which is under control. No, we got plans for it, okay.
Yeah.
Well, my question is, do we have plans for it? Is that on, do you have plans for it? Is
What's
that
plan?
on the to-do list or not really?
To put the
Hanging system.
picture up?
No, the hanging
The
rail.
hanging.
Yes, but my thought was wait till we get these guys out of here.
Okay, you were gonna contact me on that, and then when we remove those pictures, there's significant holes in the wall,
Okay,
so we'll need to do some patch.
Just some.
I will be we'll work with the new person to get that, we should have a new person here and getting that done in conjunction with all the other things that's happening too.
So that's not gonna be with,
Do you need help?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're asking.
Do you need help finding the person who can do the restoration of the walls, just the repair work?
Well, I thought we would talk to
I bet you're thinking of
our person that restores, who's,
The contractor who's
Yes,
doing the rest of
yes.
the work to get their input on, okay?
that's what I thought we.
and then we had talked about having, city staff come in and just hang the bar, and you were gonna contract me on that.
That, well, I haven't gone anywhere with that because we're trying to
Okay.
get a new person, there's a
I know.
lot going on,
Right.
and the construction, so I have not followed up with that, but that would be my intent as far as doing the
In the
work.
hanging
I
system.
try to look at getting a contractor to do that
Okay.
over here. I mean, a lot of
Okay.
times they'll just do something like that.
Oh, that would be wonderful, and we should have the
Paying a
hanging
lot of
system,
money, so.
yeah, the hanging systems here, the, okay.
And that would
Yeah.
include painting the wall, repainting the wall,
I
right?
think so,
Usually,
right? I mean,
yeah,
we want to,
yeah.
again, we want to
Yeah.
look, look the
Right,
same, look
They'll have to,
look the right
Yeah,
way.
otherwise it'd be
So-
stored.
Yeah.
Okay. So that sounds like it's gonna be put off for a little, I mean, we won't see that done until this fall anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
Well,
Alright.
maybe not that long.
Maybe sooner.
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe
right,
sooner.
possibly sooner.
Like Ben's optimism, maybe not that long.
Well, I'm not, I mean, I'm,
No, I know you're not promising
well,
anything, but.
but I wanna talk to
yeah.
those guys, cause
It's done.
if they're here working, then we could.
Yeah. Very listening.
But if I didn't mention it and get it on your list, it won't be on my list.
That thing, doing that thing, thinking about the other stuff, the holes, I'm sure saying that for sure, so.
Okay, anything else on the house manager pictures? Okay, let's move on to club affair. That's been postponed for a couple meetings, so I guess
I
we
think
need to
we'll
discuss
just keep it on future,
keep it in future.
Yeah.
because it's something that we wanna do, it's
Yeah.
just, we just can't do it right now.
We have to wait till the
Under
construction is-
construction and everything else that will probably follow into next year.
We won't let it fall aside, we'll just keep moving it up.
Right.
Okay. Eventually we'll hit it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, then let's move on to number C, review future house restoration and preservation projects. Now, I don't know.
I think that's just the list that we need to be cognizant, and it's in the city, it's in that packet that we provided the report to the city council.
Is this
And
the list?
that list that is included in the packet is what we need to be mindful about. And it's for two reasons. One, we need to be aware of something that is kind of a bigger ticket item, or maybe smaller ticket items,
it's
so that
simple
they
things
can be
like-
included in the CIP. And the timing of that is kind of, well, that's your ballpark, so.
Yeah, and I will tell you that we have, as a city, we have essentially been told for this year to not put in any CIPs. That has been the mantra.
Not even just to put it on the radar, not expecting anything, but just to kind of put it out there
Not
saying,
even that
hey,
this year.
it's coming.
So we can't even ask so that we
You
can ask
can.
for a grant?
You can, but when Harold says, don't put in any CIPs, then
What do you do?
even though I know they won't be funded, I'm just not going to. But, and I'm talking about all of recreation, I have all sorts of things to put in, but that'll be something for next year. And we will look to get that.
Because
What's the reasoning, the general reasoning is there's a lot of projects in the city that are funded but not getting done from various people's perspective in a timely manner. This doesn't have really anything to do with us in recreation or anything we're doing, but there's a general thought, there's a general feeling, all right, we gotta get done what we're done. We've got $650 million of CIPs, many of which are not funded. Well, if you add something to that, the end of that list, what are you doing? So,
our
I
whole
definitely
thought
see it on the
process.
city, I definitely see it from a city perspective. From a board and grant writing perspective. And
If we don't
and being
ask?
respectful, we, if we're not asking, then we're not having, then we don't have the proof to whatever organization providing the grant saying, hey, we've requested this for this funding.
I think
for
this will be a
project.
great topic
And it
for
would be
next
something
winter, for us to get in
Oh,
for
yeah,
next,
oh, yeah,
for next spring.
definitely. But even if we're just saying, we realize that the city has a lot on its plate, we realize your focus. We're submitting
We
this
just need to prove
only
that we asked.
as, I don't know, a marker in time to say, we're putting this in, we know we're not getting anything, we know you're busy with other things, but for our purposes of being able to write grant applications, we need to provide proof that we
We've asked at
requested the
least 2
funding,
years.
it's just not available. And so that's the reason for the need.
So,
Can we
so
do
the,
that respectfully?
not right now, no.
No,
I'm not going to put, next year, because right now is right now. It's
Oh, see, wait, so
It's
it's
right
just
now.
right now, okay then,
like
yeah,
this week,
okay,
this week for CIPs,
Alright.
literally.
alright.
And we do have one for pointing on the house.
Yes.
That's in,
Okay, that's
$156,000
wonderful, that's what we need to.
unfunded. It sits
Unfunded.
there, and
Fine.
I was questioned, that's when I was,
But
why is this one here? And
Yeah.
I said, and what is that? I said, well, it's so the house doesn't fall apart.
Right.
Oh, okay, and then,
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I
that's,
get
so
it.
the border stays, yes.
Okay.
so that's the one that
That's
sits
in
there right
city.
now.
Okay.
And I will be adding, whatever I add to that, so I'll probably add 20% to it, so.
Okay. Thank you, Ben, it's just.
Thank you.
So that's the
making
one we
sure
have.
we're-
Next year, absolutely, I wanna get in with whatever our next,
Can you describe what that one is, you said point?
it's the
Repointing.
mortar, yeah, the
It's called
mortar on
repointing.
the bricks.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's the mortar on the bricks
Yeah,
that needs to
I
get.
just didn't know that's what it was about.
And we've discussed it before, but now that we know that it's in
that's
and it's
good,
not gonna get funded, that gives us an
that-
opportunity to
that
say,
gives us our
hey,
talking point
yep,
we got our
in the
talking
grant
point.
application.
Yep, it's
Okay,
there.
I do have questions though. We were told things like that was gonna get fixed and that was on the to-do list. Is that really on the to-do list or is that just?
It's been there for a long time.
It seems to be drying a little bit and contracting a
A little concerned.
It's not on my to-do list
Getting
right
better
now,
on its own.
I will be honest with you.
Would you be okay if I reach out to Jim Bertolini? He's the one who does this work and not contract with him or
No,
anything, just ask
I
him what
am
his
not okay
schedule's
with
like.
that. We will have a new staff member.
We're waiting
We'll be
until we've got a
talking
new
about
staff
that.
member in
We
here.
have it posted, so we have that going. So,
Okay.
and I know that this is a pet peeve.
Well,
It is.
It's just
a
there.
pet
when
peeve.
we're renting out the house and that's looking like that.
So, but we will that is something that we'll go through the list with a new person and look at what we can do, what we have money for, what can the city do. To me, this is the top of that list, because I've sat here and heard about it.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
And I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean that in a,
It's just there.
it needs to get done way.
Okay, so basically, let's, I guess, keep the future restoration and preservation projects on the list and we'll
Yeah.
discuss it in the winter. So we should maybe put on the list winter, so do you want October, November, what do you think?
I think, we're around October, right, so it would be a good time to jump into that stuff.
Yeah, however that works
So-
well.
so
Leave it off the
we
list
just
as
gotta
well.
put it-
Well, we put
Well,
it
just
on the
leave it
future
on
agenda
there
and
and
just put
Noted.
October.
October.
Would be fine.
That's good.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, Callahan House e-blast content, I think that's you, Sloan. You do e-blasts?
Well, she accepts
Oh.
e-blast content.
Yes, and then we put out a sign-in sheet for the emails,
Yes.
so.
May I put together a thank you note, just a little thank you email that I can provide to you and you can submit to the group of people who signed in as guests. It would just be a thank you for attending the spring open house. You know, the following are the next open house events. Please feel free to join us
We'd
at
love to
any
see
of
your
these.
happy
We'd love to
faces.
see you again. That kind of just a thank you for coming. Here's what's coming up this year. Can I do that and give that to you?
I am happy with copy and paste.
Would
Really
it,
happy.
Good.
Would it
One less
be
thing off our list.
would it be okay if when I do that, does everybody need to see and approve it? Because I'm happy to send it to everybody and then you all just get back to Sue and say thumbs up or no or
I
what.
think that's probably a
Is
good
that good
idea,
enough?
since it comes from the board, I think we should at least see it. Probably all will say okay. If you're just gonna email it to
It's up to
everybody?
you.
Okay.
I just want everybody to be included. I
have
don't
to
want
see it, but if you can.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Email it to Sue Ellen. and
Yes.
she'll send it out.
Yes. Yes. I will send it to Sue and Sue will send it to everybody. Okay. Thank you.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything else on e-blasts? Alrighty, the fall tea, we have to set a date. Okay, in June.
In
we'll set a
June.
date. Okay, that's next month then. Okay, and news release for grant project. That sounds like, you're smiling, that must be.
We're talking about it again because we started to talk about it last month and of course we're still really early on. But when do you think, can we maybe shoot for next month to put together a news release and say, here's what's happening at the Callahan House? And, you know, just some photos to include, acknowledgement to History Colorado and thanks for their support in this project as well. You know, that's part of the things we promised History Colorado we would do.
More
And
like
also,
late June.
important to be transparent with the community to say, here's what's happening. You heard the news, you heard the buzz about the grant and the work that's going to be done, here's what's happening and when. And so, there may be times when the garden is not accessible due to work on the concrete, and this is the reason why. So that kind of thing.
Hopefully concrete's done by then, but,
By June.
yeah, let's put that on the new item, new business for next month.
New business for June, so we can list it as new business for June,
Yeah.
and then maybe we can put a news release out in the late,
At some point.
in late June.
Yeah, let's see where we're at that point, and we will make the decision. You guys can make the decision as far as I'm concerned, and we'll get something out. I think, yeah,
Late June,
sometime in June, and see where we're at.
Late June, early July.
Yeah, because that's we have that work. Well, by mid-June, we kind of stop work, so we'll know where we're at, and that's probably an appropriate time to do that.
Okay, perfect.
Alright. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about or bring up?
I have one small thing, that Venue Hub was one of our ways that we would get inquiries. Venue Hub has changed their market business model and now they only reference tightly in the Denver area.
Oh.
So they no longer offer expanded Lyons, Boulder area, so That's just it.
So,
you're
We're
saying,
not getting inquiries from Venue Hub in the future.
okay,
That's
okay,
it.
and
You're still getting wet and wired, right?
Oh, yeah.
and that's not something we paid for or anything?
No, it's kind of like a, fill in your event, fill in your things, click the areas that you think you might be interested, click in your budget, and we will automatically
Send you off.
send emails out to these people who will reach back to you if what they have meets your criteria.
Mhm.
And they just decided to only blast people in the Denver.
Narrow it down, narrow their scope.
They're narrowing their scope, their business model.
Alright, well, thank you for that.
Sad.
With that then, we've reached the end of our meeting, so can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
It's 7:28.
And I don't think we're going, do we? All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.